Hello, welcome to Business. My name is Darrell Kwao. The First Atlantic and Energy Bank merger would be fully integrated by the middle of this year. That's according to Managing Director of First Atlantic Bank, Odun Odumfa. Now, First Atlantic Bank earlier this year completed merger talks with Energy Commercial Bank. Typical of such takeovers, there are fears there could be some layoffs, but Mr. Odumfa says that would not be the situation.
It's ongoing. We have a plan to conclude the system integration in 6 months. We're not at the end of the 3rd month yet. So we have about 3.5 months to go. But given what we've done so far and the results we've seen, I will say that it's gone even better than we expected. Of course, in a merger like this, you've got to integrate the people, the systems, the processes. And we're focused on concluding all this on time. We've had to redeploy staff, yes. We've got to move people around so that, like you said, where there are redundancies, we use them in places where they can be useful. We're making steady progress. We're happy with what we've done. And today, that is the state of things. I mean, our business is dynamic. We're not only dealing with people issues and issues of branches and all that. We're also dealing with channels and being able to run an efficient system. The traditional banking system, for example, is challenged by the digital banking space. Sometimes the changes you make is not necessarily because of whether people are doing well or not. It's because there are other channels that come up and offer you competition that you've got to take note of. And in doing so, you have to make changes to your structure, your people, your processes. So for us today, we're happy with the people we have.
The International Monetary Fund says the government has instituted measures that should compel it to be prudent with its expenditure after completing the IMF program. The IMF Wednesday approved an end to the country's program with the fund. George Afe has the latest.
According to the IMF, this is just a normal arrangement that they institute for any country that immediately comes out of a program to ensure that they don't go off track. Sources close to the fund also argues it hopes to use the Article 4 consultations to indirectly put some pressure on government to be prudent with its expenditure. The Article 4 consultations will be carried out every year and publish their findings for every member country, as well as the investing community. For some, the board approval didn't come easy, as the IMF had some issues with the country's rising debts and status of the Treasury single account, and ensuring that government balances its revenue with expenditure going into an election year. So what does it mean to government in terms of completing this IMF program? Well, some have argued that it could give government the space to fully implement their own economic program. They will also be free from those restrictions and conditionalities which affected their policies and programs when they were under the IMF program. However, this doesn't mean that the country is exiting the International Monetary Fund, that is the IMF. It still remains a member and will be subjected to those rules that guide all the countries under the institution.
So the IMF board has released some $185 million to Ghana after we passed the 7th and 8th review to complete the 3-year program. Now this brings the total amount of funds disbursed under the IMF program to $925 million. According to an official statement issued by the IMF, it has also granted government some waivers. These waivers are on the non-observance of some targets. So is Ghana ready to go it alone following the successful completion of the IMF program? That was the question posed to Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta when he appeared on Bloomberg TV.
I think we really have proven over this period the clarity of our President Akufo-Addo's vision of a Ghana beyond aid. So the principle of going alone, being sovereign and independent is very clear. However, we've had a great relationship these 2 years with the fund. And so we moved back to Article 4 It's now a 12-month review in which they come in every 6 months. We've also established an economic policy coordinating committee in which they will sit in. So the sense of the IMF as a trusted advisor is something that will go on with. Only there's no money at the end of the table, but the rigor of reviews, etc., will continue. And I think that's a healthy relationship.
And I guess the real test is how we manage our finances after this program, right?
Exactly, Daryl. And you know, the recent cedi depreciation has been attributed in part to investor confidence as we are about to exit the IMF program.
He mentioned that in that interview as well.
Exactly. So it's very key what's coming up next.